If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but that's a lot of problems, Diana. Are you okay? Man, do I have to change this song now? What are you doing bugging me when I'm trying to listen to music? Sorry, I just thought we could help each other out. I've got another resilience video today that's all about solving problems. Ugh, what do you want me to do? Oh, just be your usual sunshiny self. Go f yourself. I love you too. Hey, thanks for helping. I'm gonna go finish getting set up and then we can get started here in a minute. Just roll the intro. Hello and welcome back to Black, White, Gray, Yellow. My name is Diana and this channel is all about communication, connection, and resilience. If you're new to this channel, I'm a Master Resilience Trainer in the United States Army National Guard. I also served 13 months as the State Resilience Coordinator at my state's Joint Force headquarters. This series is based on the research behind the skills taught as part of the Master Resilience Training Program, replacing proprietary material with references to open source research and books. So you can share these videos freely. If you'd like to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. So what is today's resilience skill, Diana? Hi, Diana. Well, today we're going over the skill that the Master Resilience Training Program calls problem solving. Problem solving? What, is this a skill that can help me with my math homework? The name is pretty broad and potentially misleading, I guess, because no, it isn't going to help you solve any equations. But there are a lot of problems that we experience in our daily lives that the skill can help us with. Like what? Well, like if you have a spat in some relationship, whether at work or at home, or if you're struggling to hit one of your goals. So like me trying to get more views on this channel. Sure, yeah, absolutely. All right, well, hit me. How do we solve that problem? Okay, so ultimately we know that we can't solve a problem very effectively if we aren't aware of what's causing it. Is that fair? Sure, I'll give you that. So this skill is ultimately about getting to the real causes of the problem. From there, we can identify which of those causes are at all within our control and come up with a set of solutions based on those. Wait, what do you mean getting to the real causes? I mean, I know what's causing my problem with views, I just gotta work the algorithm. The algorithm is definitely part of it, but there's a reason why Reivich and Shatté call this skill challenging beliefs in their book, The Resilience Factor. Because the real magic of this skill comes in challenging our initial assumptions about the problem's causes. What's wrong with my initial assumptions? Are you saying my explanation is wrong? Not wrong, just most likely incomplete. As humans, we tend to focus or fixate on one type of explanation, which we can describe along three axes. Our explanatory style is really at the heart of this skill. Knowing where our initial explanation falls on those three axes allows us to challenge the initial narrative by looking for other explanations that fall elsewhere on those axes. Okay, so walk me through these three axes. So the three axes are me versus not me, always versus not always, and everything versus not everything. Me versus not me is pretty self-explanatory. Is a particular cause of the problem one in which you're blaming yourself or where you're blaming others or outside circumstances? Most of us are pretty well aware that any problem is going to have a mix of those types of causes. Always versus not always gets at whether a cause you identify is one that is relatively temporary or speaks to something more long-lasting. So, like, is something just off today, or are you blaming some innate quality about yourself or someone else? And then everything versus not everything gets at whether this cause is a thing that affects other aspects of your life or not. If you think one cause of your problem is some personality trait, that could affect way more than just your work or your relationship, for example. But if the problem is that you lack some specific skill that only applies in the one context, that would be a not everything cause. So your initial explanation that it just comes down to the algorithm is a not me, always, not everything explanation. The algorithm isn't your fault, not me, and it doesn't affect other areas of your life, not everything, but it is likely to continue to be a factor for the foreseeable future, always. In contrast, when I have a video that doesn't do as well as I want, I worry that I'm just not very interesting. That would be a me, always, everything explanation. I'm assuming that I'm the problem, it's me, that it's a personality trait, always, and not being interesting is something that affects more areas of my life than just my channel. Everything. Well, speak for yourself. I'm delightful, and that's why I wanted you to be such a big part of this video. So, we've already challenged each other's explanatory styles by coming up with 2 different explanations that oppose each other on 2 of the 3 axes. Let's see if we can come up with some more explanations that flesh out some of the other explanatory styles. First, see if you can name another possible cause that falls on the me half of the spectrum, and I'll come up with another one that's a not me. Well, besides just being at the mercy of the algorithm, I suppose I could do more to make the algorithm work for me, like being more consistent with putting out videos. So what? That would be a me, not always, not everything explanation. Am I right? And while I do have to be interesting, I also recognize that I'm never going to be everyone's cup of tea, so I need to rely more on my search engine optimization and hitting my target audience. So that's a not me, not always, not everything explanation, I think. Fair enough. So how long do we keep doing this? Well, generally we keep going until we can't come up with any more explanations, but always continuing to challenge our explanatory style so that our list of problem causes is as broad as possible. This is forcing flexible thinking, which is why the skill primarily builds mental agility, according to the Army's MRT program. Well, flexibility is great, but to my point earlier, what's controlling the accuracy of this list? Just because we come up with a possible explanation doesn't mean it's a real cause of the problem. For example, I can't have us conclude at the end of this that I'm not interesting is one of the real causes. Well, I appreciate that. But yeah, you're actually just a little bit ahead of me. That's the next step. First, we use the explanatory style axes to generate a lot more potential causes of the problem. Then we trim that list by taking a hard look at each item on it, and if we need to, come up with evidence both for and against it to determine whether it is a real cause of our problem or not. Whatever's left at the end is what we can assume are the real causes. Okay, and then we can work on solutions based on which of those causes we can control? Yes, you got it. That's the whole 7-step program in a nutshell. Wait, 7 steps? There's no way what we just went through was 7 whole steps. Well, that's why I wanted to go through it with you, because in reality, it isn't nearly as complicated as the 7-step program makes it sound. But for completeness, let's review all 7 steps in order. Step 1 is to ABC the problem. Remember our resilience ABCs? It's been a minute since we talked about them, but remember that the point of the skill is to build self-awareness of our thoughts or beliefs, particularly those that drive unhelpful consequences. So the last time you experienced your adversity, in our example, the last time we had a video that didn't get as many views as we wanted, what were your reactions or consequences, and what thoughts or beliefs drove those consequences? Write them all down and identify which ones answer the question why the problem happened. This is your initial list of causes. Step 2 is to take that initial list of causes and make a pie chart showing how much each explanation is responsible for the problem. It's an estimate. From our initial list, we might have drawn a pie chart 50-50 or maybe 75-25 with our 2 explanations that we have to use the algorithm, where my ticker tape thought might actually have been something like, the algorithm doesn't like me yet, and that I have to be interesting, where again, my ticker tape thought might actually have been something like, I suck. Step 3 is to identify and or chart the explanatory style of each item on the initial list of causes. Most likely, you'll find that your initial explanations all have some elements in common, whether they're mostly me or mostly not me, mostly always or mostly not always, or mostly everything or mostly not everything. Then step 4 is to challenge yourself to think flexibly. Look for other possible causes for the problem in the other areas of the chart. If your initial explanations were all me, for example, look for some not me explanations, and so on. In step 5, after we've thought flexibly, We're going to think accurately. Going through each of the explanations you've come up with, think honestly about evidence for that explanation and evidence against it. For example, we can challenge the explanation that I suck, even though I know I can't be interesting to everyone. So yes, I might actually remove that from the list before going on to step 6. Step 6 is recharting my new list of causes for the problem into a new pie chart, identifying which of the causes play the biggest role in causing the problem. Of those, I can identify which ones are within my control. And then step 7 is to come up with a new set of solutions based on the causes that have the greatest impact and which are within my control. In our example, I think ultimately you started on the right track. I just need to stay consistent and let the algorithm work for me. I can also get better at my search engine optimization and at reaching my target audience. On the subject of being more interesting, the feedback I've gotten from my friends and family so far is that I actually need to bring you in more often. Well, I could have told you that. But yeah, that's the 7 steps. So what do you think? So today's skill, which is called problem solving in the Army's MRT program and challenging beliefs in the resilience factor, is ultimately just about thinking flexibly and accurately when it comes to the causes of our problems so that we can come up with our own more effective list of solutions? Yeah, I think that's a great way to phrase it. Well, that's some bull. You're saying I still have to come up with my own solutions for my own problems. What if I want someone else to solve them for me? Well, I'm empowering you to find solutions to your own problems so that you don't have to rely on anyone else. But I guess you could do this as a partner exercise like we did, so you and a partner could help each other. I'd accept that. So, how do I make that happen? Well, you'd have to share this video with someone so that they can learn the skill too. I see what you did there. That's some good problem solving. Thanks. But anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you feel like sharing, please share in the comments how you use this skill to solve some of your problems. Or just tell me which personality you like better, bubbly Diana or snarky Diana. But that's it for this video. Until next time, my name is Diana, and this has been Black, White, Gray, Yellow. Hey, real quick before you go, I have an announcement to make. Black, White, Gray, Yellow now officially has a Patreon account. This is a really big deal for me. If you're not familiar, Patreon is a platform where you can support me directly, financially, in exchange for more exclusive content that I don't post for everyone on YouTube. So for example, it's where I'm going to be posting things like the uncensored versions of my videos, behind the scenes content and blooper reels, and I planned on dropping my videos up there before I drop them on YouTube. So for example, the uncensored version of this video, along with some blooper reel behind the scenes content, was posted up there earlier this week, meaning that patrons got access to it before everybody else. So if that sounds good to you, you can still check it out right now. It's on Patreon. The link is in the description. One of the other things I'm really excited for that the Patreon platform provides is this feature called Community Chats, which means that just those of you who support my work enough to become patrons can actually join a community with me where we can all talk more freely together. So it's a place where I absolutely want things like your feedback on my videos and recommendations for future videos. But it's also a place where I can get to know you a lot better and certainly more easily than through the YouTube comments. I want to know what inspires you. I want to know what has helped you become a more resilient person. And I absolutely want pictures of your pets. It's also a place where you can communicate with each other. Maybe something that's helped you in the past will help somebody else. So what I'm excited for most in this is building a resilient or aspiring resilient community, a really positive place where we can work and build this together. If that sounds good to you, go check it out on Patreon right now. Of course, the last piece of being a patron of mine is that you get to support my work. If that's something that you do support, if you're still watching this, I trust that you like my work enough to want to do that maybe. This video, for example, I know it wasn't perfect, but if you liked it, great. It was by far the most frustrating video I have shot so far. But if you like the direction that I'm going and you want to continue to support me doing better and more interesting videos going forward, Patreon is the place where you can show me that support, give me that positive reinforcement, and I will continue to do more in the future. It'll also help me do things like save up for a higher resolution camera so we can have even better quality videos in the future. So there's a lot to look forward to with that. Without further ado, I'm just going to say thank you all so much. Like I said, the link is in the description, but it's really simply patreon.com/blackwhitegrayyellow. If you become a supporter of mine, thank you so much. And I will give some shout outs and thank those people through the platform as well. So I hope that you all have a wonderful night, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.